beautiful people, what it do, Sky Squad? Welcome back. And in this video we're going to talk about some tips on how to dye your locks. Now let's just get started in this because I'm only talking from the perspective of doing a semi-permanent color on virgin hair. That's basically what you see right now. I did have a box dye and I did test that out, so I can kind of talk to you a little bit about that. But things to prepare, because you need to be prepared when dyeing your locks, whether that's semi-permanent, permanent with a developer, or you're using bleach. You're going to need to be prepared if you're doing this at home. Let's talk about the environment first while that's on my mind, because I thoroughly underestimated how messy this would be. You need to cover everything. Like, you need to come up with 2, 3, 4 towels you don't care about. Cover the counters, cover your floor that you're standing on, and then around you. Not saying that was very helpful, because I still got some dye on my neck, on my cheek, on my forehead. And just wear a t-shirt you don't care about, pretty much. If you're gonna dye your hair, wear one you don't care that will get bleach on it, things like that. So you want to make sure that you cover your working area, and before you start, make sure you have everything ready to go. I mean, make sure you already have these things open, because once you put your gloves on, once you start dyeing, you're gonna have chemicals and dye all over your gloves, and it's just gonna feel messier trying to open these tubes, and they look like that. They got like a little covering on them. So just get everything in line, everything in order, and then when you're ready to do the damn thing, you can do so confidently. Now, if you can have a buddy help you, that'd be great. If not, and you're like me and you're just doing it yourself, just make sure you got all your ducks in a row, so it's not crazy in there. And even when you do cover everything, I think it's because my locks are longer than a lot of the videos I see. It's like some dye just flings everywhere. So make sure you got some towels on deck and ready, on you, on your counter, on your floor, around you. Make sure you have all your things lined up, like in the steps that you need them, ready to go, because your hands will be messy, your gloves will be messy. I like to use my own gloves. Gloves come in box kits. If you're not using a box kit, make sure you have gloves. Just do it. You won't regret using gloves, I promise you. I think a mixing bowl will be helpful. I think a brush would be helpful, even if you're just doing a semi-permanent one color. Get yourself a brush like this. It's helpful to scoop things. Get a mixing bowl. I threw mine out because I didn't even want to deal with washing it, but get a mixing bowl so that way you can put all of the bottles you're using or whatever into a container that's easy to deal with if you're not mixing a box dye and using the nozzle. I think a very important thing to have is these like see-through foils. I like these because you can basically see through it. You can know what's going on without having to unwrap it every time and get the foil messy. Get these. They were $2.99 at my beauty supply store. You get 35. I only used a couple of them for my test strands. But this saves you time and money. You're not using up all your foil. Save your other foil, you know, for cooking. Keep this on deck when you're dyeing your locks, okay? And make sure you do a test lock like I did here. This is the black velvet that I ended up going with, as you can see here. And this was a box dye called Red Hot Rhythm by Dark and Lovely. And that's how they compare to each other. Now, this wasn't bad, it just wasn't what I was going for, but at least I found that out on a test strand. I don't see many lock heads doing that. So save your lock trimmings, don't throw them away. I save all mine. They're in here. Save them, maybe clip a little bit on the end, or just apply a little bit on the end first, just to see if you're gonna actually like that blonde or that color you're dealing with, and if it's even worth using it, because why go through all that trouble and then you don't even like it? So do your test strips, You will not regret your test strips. Do your test locks, your test strands. You will not regret it. Now, once you have your dye, your box, your mixing bowl, the brush, you got your coverings, you got your see-through foil, your tested your strands and all that. The other things you really need to make sure you have is a whole lot of shampoo. Yes, you're gonna need a whole lot of shampoo. You might think you have enough at the house. Go ahead and buy a full bottle. Buy a full bottle. This is the one I just happen to use, Aunt Jackie's Power Wash. I really like using it. Whether that's that, your Dr. Bronner's, a clarifying shampoo. You're gonna need a full bottle on deck. You don't want to have dyes, bleaches, developers embedded in your locks and you don't have enough things to get them out, okay? So it doesn't matter if you think I got 3/4 of a bottle at home. Buy yourself another bottle. Use as much as you need to use depending on the length of your locks, what you're using to get that stuff out, because you really don't want the developer and the bleach to continue processing inside your locks because you didn't get it all out. And remember, all locks are like sponges. So get that on deck, and while you're at it, get a conditioner. It doesn't have to be this. I know the box dyes come with conditioner, but get a conditioning treatment of your choice, of your choosing, because with all the chemicals you're putting on it and as much as you're washing it, your locks are gonna want some moisture. I think that's the number one thing people with dyed locks is noticing, like their locks seem to be more dry. Get you conditioner on deck. Yes. I just used this because I still had a lot of it. These are the two I use. To me, it don't matter. Pick a clarifying shampoo, pick a conditioning conditioner, and make sure you have a full bottle on deck, on standby, ready to go when you do this, because you don't want to limit how often you might need to use a product to get the job done and done correctly. That's what you need to basically dye your hair, okay? Make sure you follow the instructions. Get your box dyes, especially or any dye for that matter, about a couple of days before you want to do this, because the box dye that I got actually said to do a skin test 2 days before. I don't know if it's like that on, I feel like that's probably like that on red dyes, which made me nervous because I have sensitive skin, and it said if you have tattoos, allergic reaction is more likely to happen. I have tattoos, I have sensitive skin, I have had allergic reaction, I do carry an EpiPen, and I'm just like, is this even worth it? Whatever. I didn't do the skin allergy thing, but I did do the test, and while this is a pretty color, I just don't really care for it. So I'm glad I didn't. I'd rather waste $6 on a dye or $10, $20 on a dye rather than commit my locks to something and then I don't even like it, and then I put my locks through that for what? You know, give yourself all day to do this. This is not something you could just do and be ready by evening to go do what you think you're gonna. You do not want to rush this process at all. You want to have your stuff ready days before you decide to do this, or if this is a spare of the moment, make sure you go first thing in the morning, get everything you need from the beauty supply store, and give yourself all day to do this, or all night. We all like to dye our hair at random times. Now that's what I would do. So those are my tips there. I really liked just doing a semi-permanent. I see people mix semi-permanent with developer. I'm sure it doesn't matter, but every time I look it up online, it's like, you don't need to do that. You shouldn't do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But people are mixing this with developer, but really I think developer is meant for like the permanent color. And if I'm not mistaken, if you are concerned about like your permanent hair color, your box dye fading, you can find probably a semi-permanent dye in the color that you want, and you can just apply that on directly. I didn't need to use a developer with this. I didn't even bother getting a black box dye for why. My hair is already black. I'm just gonna put this on there so it can coat on the outer shaft. Developer helps the dye gets into the shaft, but that's usually reserved for permanent hair color. So I think honestly, get you a box dye or get you permanent hair colors with developer, bleach, whatever you need, and then go ahead and find a semi-permanent color in the color that you like or want, so that way if it does fade, you could just apply the semi-permanent color on top, in my mind, and be good. You don't have to keep processing your locks or keep doing that. You know what I mean? I don't think, anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not an expert in the dye department, but from my research, that's what I was planning to do. If I liked this red, if this red was how I wanted it, I bought semi-permanent color to just be on deck for when it does fade, because red tends to fade the fastest. Have that on deck and just apply that on here, because me with just virgin hair, it took the semi-permanent. I didn't need to do a developer. Now that only worked because I'm dyeing it black, basically. You know, I'm not trying to do lighter than my hair color. I was actually trying to do my hair color or darker, so that's why that worked. If I was hell-bent on getting lighter, I would need a developer of some sort, for sure. So, and keep in mind, especially if you have longer locks, it's just gonna be a longer process. Always get more dye than you think you need. I didn't have to, I got lucky. I think I used 3 of these. I think I probably could have got away with 2, but I bought more because I was like, I don't know. And it's okay, because whenever I do it again or whatever, I'll still have this. But always get more than you need. I see people start out with like 1 box. I'm like, you're gonna have to saturate your locks, baby. You're gonna have to saturate that thing. You better off getting 2 boxes, no exceptions, because you don't want to start that process and not have enough. If you do, just start with half your head. Don't try to do all your head with limited supply. So just go ahead and get more than you think you need. And if you don't need it, cool, you got it waiting on you the next time you want to use it. But yeah, that's my little spiel. Let me know, have you dyed your locks? Are there any other tips you would give the other lock heads that are thinking about dyeing their locks? Is there anything that I probably got wrong? I think you do need to be prepared, so definitely take that for sure. That's my spiel. Let me know if you like this video. Make sure you like it up. Make sure you subscribe. Let's get to 5K. Let me know in the comments. Again, help everyone else out. What are some other tips that you have as far as dyeing your locks? Any tips or suggestions, leave them down below. And until next time, peace out.